Welcome to Paul's Funhouse with a wild and weird abound. From the serious to the paranormal, there's no telling what you'll find. Hosted by Paul and friends, they'll take you on a wild ride through the realms of the unknown and the mysteries that hide. So come on in and take a seat, get ready for a show where anything can happen and the energy will flow. Welcome to the Funhouse, where the topics change and the lights are bright. It's a one-of-a-kind experience that will keep you up all night. So join Paul and friends and let the good times roll in the world of the Funhouse where anything goes. Let's go. Oh, oh, oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Paul's Funhouse. Today, we are on to part 2 of a topic so big you can't fit it all into one episode, so we'll dive into another multiple episode topic. Religion. Just a reminder, I won't tell you what religion to follow. Instead, I want to give you info on some of the most prominent religions in the world, so you can decide for yourself what religion is right for you. Monday, we looked at some of the most popular religions in the world. Today, we are looking at some of the least prevalent religions in the world. And what better way to start than with the religion that gets the most criticism, Neo-Paganism. Modern paganism, also known as contemporary and Neo-Paganism, spans a range of new religious movements variously influenced by the beliefs of pre-modern peoples across Europe, North Africa, and the Near East. Despite some similarities, contemporary pagan movements are diverse, sharing no single set of beliefs, practices, or religious texts. Scholars of religion may study the phenomenon as a movement divided into different religions, while others research Neo-Paganism. There is considerable disagreement as to the precise definition and the proper usage of modern paganism. Even within the academic field of pagan studies, there is no consensus about how contemporary paganism can best be defined. Most scholars describe modern paganism as a broad array of different religions, not a single one. The category of modern paganism could be compared to the categories of Abrahamic faiths and Indian religions in its structure. A second, less standard definition found within pagan studies, promoted by the religious studies scholars Michael F. Stromiska and Graham Harvey, characterizes modern paganism as a single religion, of which groups like Wicca, Druidry, and heathenry are denominations. This perspective has been critiqued, given the lack of core commonalities in issues such as theology, cosmology, ethics, the afterlife, holy days, or ritual practices within the pagan movement. Contemporary paganism has been defined as a collection of modern religious, spiritual, and magical traditions that are self-consciously inspired by the pre-Judaic, pre-Christian, and pre-Islamic belief systems of Europe, North Africa, and the Near East. Thus, it has been said that although it is a highly diverse phenomenon, an identifiable common element nevertheless runs through the pagan movement. Stromiska described paganism as a movement dedicated to reviving the polytheistic, nature-worshipping pagan religions of pre-Christian Europe and adapting them for the use of people in modern societies. The religious studies scholar Wouter Hanegraaff characterized paganism as encompassing all those modern movements which are, first, based on the conviction that what Christianity has traditionally denounced as idolatry and superstition actually represented a profound and meaningful religious worldview, and, secondly, that a religious practice based on this worldview can and should be revitalized in our modern world. As a decentralized religion with an array of denominations, Beliefs and practices vary widely among pagan groups. However, a series of core principles are familiar to most, if not all, forms of modern paganism. The English academic Graham Harvey noted that pagans rarely indulge in theology. One principle of the pagan movement is polytheism, the belief in and veneration of multiple gods or goddesses. Within the pagan movement, many male and female deities can be found, and they have various associations and embody forces of nature, aspects of culture, and facets of human psychology. These deities are typically depicted in human form and are viewed as having human faults. Therefore, they are not seen as perfect, but revered as wise and powerful. Pagans feel that this understanding of the gods reflected the dynamics of life on earth, allowing for the expression of humor. One view in the pagan community is that these polytheistic deities are not viewed as literal entities, but as Jungian archetypes or other psychological constructs that exist in the human psyche. Others believe that the deities have both a psychological and external existence. Many pagans believe the adoption of a polytheistic worldview would be beneficial for Western society, replacing the dominant monotheism they see as innately repressive. Many American modern pagans first came to their adopted faiths because it allowed greater freedom, diversity, and tolerance of worship among the community. This pluralistic perspective has helped the varied factions of modern paganism exist in relative harmony. Most pagans adopt a unity in diversity ethos regarding their religious beliefs. The inclusion of a female deity distinguishes pagan religions from their Abrahamic counterparts. In Wicca, male and female deities are typically balanced out in duotheism. Many pagans strongly desire to incorporate the female aspects of the divine in their worship and lives, which can partially explain the attitude that sometimes manifests as the veneration of women. There are exceptions to polytheism in paganism, as seen in the form of Ukrainian paganism promoted by Lev Selenko, which is devoted to a monotheistic veneration of the god Dazhbog. As noted, pagans with naturalistic worldviews may not believe in or work with deities. Pagan religions commonly exhibit a metaphysical concept of an underlying order that pervades the universe, such as the concept of harmonia embraced by Hellenists, and that of weird found in heathenry. A crucial part of most pagan worldviews is the holistic concept of an interconnected universe. This is connected with a belief in either pantheism or panentheism. In both beliefs, divinity and the material or spiritual universe are one. For pagans, pantheism means that divinity is inseparable from nature and that deity is immanent in nature. Dennis D. Carpenter noted that the belief in a pantheistic or panentheistic deity has led to the idea of interconnectedness playing an essential part in pagans' worldviews. The prominent reclaiming priestess Starhawk related that a core part of goddess-centered pagan witchcraft was the understanding that all being is interrelated, that we are all linked with the cosmos as parts of one living organism. What affects one of us affects us all. Another pivotal belief in the contemporary pagan movement is that of animism. This has been interpreted in two distinct ways among the pagan community. First, it can refer to a belief that everything in the universe is imbued with a life force or spiritual energy. In contrast, some contemporary pagans believe that specific spirits inhabit various features in the natural world, and that these can be actively communicated with. Some pagans have reported experiencing communication with spirits dwelling in rocks, plants, trees, and animals, as well as power animals or animal spirits who can act as spiritual helpers or guides. Animism was also a concept familiar to many pre-Christian European religions, and in adopting it, contemporary pagans are attempting to re-enter the primeval worldview and participate in a view of cosmology that is not possible for most Westerners after childhood. All pagan movements emphasize the divinity of nature as a primary source of divine will and humanity's membership in the natural world, bound in kinship to all life and the earth itself. The animistic aspects of pagan theology assert that all things have a soul, not just humans or organic life. So this bond is held with mountains, rivers, trees, and wild animals. As a result, pagans believe the essence of their spirituality is both ancient and timeless, regardless of the age of specific religious movements. Places of natural beauty are therefore treated as sacred and ideal for ritual, like the emotions of the ancient Celts. Many pagans hold that different lands and cultures have their natural religion, with many legitimate interpretations of divinity, and therefore reject religious exclusivism. While the pagan community has many political views spanning the whole political spectrum, environmentalism is often daily. Such views have also led many pagans to revere Earth as Mother Earth, often referred to as Gaia after the ancient Greek goddess of the earth. We touched briefly on animism a few moments ago, so what exactly is animism? Animism is the belief that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence. Animism perceives all things, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, weather systems, human handiwork, and sometimes words, as being animated, having agency and free will. Animism is used in the anthropology of religion as a term for the belief system of many indigenous peoples, in contrast to the relatively more recent development of organized religions. Animism is a metaphysical belief that focuses on the supernatural universe, specifically on the concept of the immaterial soul. Although each culture has its mythologies and rituals, animism is said to describe the most common, foundational thread of indigenous peoples' spiritual or supernatural perspectives. The animistic perspective is so widely held and inherent to most indigenous peoples that they often do not even have a word in their languages that corresponds to animism, or even religion. The term animism is an anthropological construct. Due to such ethno-linguistic and cultural discrepancies, opinions differ on whether animism refers to an ancestral mode of experience common to indigenous peoples worldwide or a full-fledged religion in its own right. Edward Tyler only developed the currently accepted definition of animism in the late 19th century, 1871. It is one of anthropology's earliest concepts, if not the first. Animism encompasses beliefs that all material phenomena have agency, that there exists no definite distinction between the spiritual and physical world, and that soul, spirit, or sentience exists not only in humans, but also in other animals, plants, rocks, geographic features, such as mountains and rivers, and other entities of the natural environment. Examples include water sprites, vegetation deities, and tree spirits. Animism may attribute a life force to abstract concepts such as words, proper names, or metaphors in mythology. Some members of the non-tribal world also consider themselves animists, such as author Daniel Quinn, sculptor Lawson Oyakin, and many contemporary pagans. Animism entails the belief that all living things have a soul. Thus, a central concern of animist thought surrounds how animals can be eaten or otherwise used for humans' subsistence needs. The actions of non-human animals are viewed as intentional, planned, and purposive, and they are understood to be persons, as they are both alive and communicate with others. In animist worldviews, non-human animals are understood to participate in kinship systems and ceremonies with humans, and have their kinship systems and ceremonies. Graham Harvey cited an example of an animist understanding of animal behavior at a powwow held by the Conn River Mi'kmaq in 1996. An eagle flew over the proceedings, circling the central drum group. The assembled participants called out Kitpu, eagle, welcoming the bird and expressing pleasure at its beauty. They later articulated that the eagle's actions reflected its approval of the event and the Mi'kmaq's return to traditional spiritual practices. In animism, rituals are performed to maintain relationships between humans and spirits. Indigenous peoples often perform these rituals to appease the spirits and request assistance during hunting and healing. In the Arctic region, certain rituals are expected before the hunt to show respect for the spirits of animals. Some animists also view plant and fungi life as persons and interact with them accordingly. The most common encounter between humans and these plant and fungi persons is with the former's collection of the latter for food. For animists, this interaction typically has to be carried out respectfully. Harvey cited the example of Maori communities in New Zealand, who often offer karakia invocations to sweet potatoes as they dig up the ladder. While doing so, there is an awareness of a kinship relationship between the Maori and the sweet potatoes, understood as having arrived in Aotearoa together in the same canoes. In other instances, animists believe that interaction with plant and fungi persons can result in the communication of things unknown or even otherwise unknowable. Among some modern pagans, for instance, relationships are cultivated with specific trees, which are understood to bestow knowledge or physical gifts, such as flowers, sap, or wood that can be used as firewood or to fashion into a wand. In return, these pagans give offerings to the tree itself, which can come in the form of libations of mead or ale, a drop of blood from a finger, or a strand of wool. Various animistic cultures also comprehend stones as persons. Discussing ethnographic work conducted among the Ojibwe, Harvey noted that their society generally conceived of stones as being inanimate, but with two notable exceptions: the stones of the Bell Rocks, and those stones which are situated beneath trees struck by lightning, which were understood to have become thunderers themselves. The Ojibwe conceived of weather as capable of having personhood, with storms being conceived of as persons known as thunderers, whose sounds conveyed communications and who engaged in seasonal conflict over the lakes and forests, throwing lightning at lake monsters. Wind, similarly, can be conceived as a person in animistic thought. The importance of place is also a recurring element of animism, with some areas being understood as persons in their own right. Animism can also entail relationships with non-corporeal spirit entities. Our next religion is Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism, also known as Mazdayasna and Behtin, is an Iranian religion. Among the world's oldest organized faiths, it is based on the teachings of Iranian prophet Zarathustra, commonly known by his Greek name Zoroaster, as outlined in the primary religious text called the Avesta. Zoroastrians exalt an uncreated and benevolent deity of wisdom as the universe's supreme being, commonly referred to as Ahura Mazda. Opposed to Ahura Mazda is Angra Mainyu, who is personified as a destructive spirit and the adversary of all things good. Zoroastrianism combines a dualistic cosmology of good and evil with an eschatology that predicts the ultimate triumph of Ahura Mazda over evil. Opinions vary among scholars on whether the religion is monotheistic, polytheistic, henotheistic, or a combination of all three. Zoroastrianism shaped Iranian culture and history, while scholars differ on whether it significantly influenced ancient Western philosophy and the Abrahamic religions, or gradually reconciled with other religions and traditions, such as Christianity and Islam. Originating from Zoroaster's reforms of the ancient Iranian religion, Zoroastrianism may have roots in the Avestan period of the 2nd millennium BCE, but was first recorded in the mid-6th century BCE. It was the official religion of successive Iranian polities for the following 1,000 years. It began with the Achaemenid Empire, which formalized and institutionalized many of its tenets and rituals through the Sasanian Empire, revitalizing the faith and standardizing its teachings. Following the Muslim conquest of Persia in the mid-7th century CE, Zoroastrianism declined amid persecution and forced conversions by the early Muslims. Many Zoroastrians fled to the Indian subcontinent as refugees and became the progenitors of today's Parsis. Once numbering millions of adherents at its height, the world's current Zoroastrian population is estimated at between 110,000 and 200,000, with the majority residing in India, 50,000 to 60,000, Iran, 15,000 to 25,000, and North America, 21,000. The religion is thought to be declining due to restrictions on conversion, strict endogamy, and low birth rates. The central beliefs and practices of Zoroastrianism are contained in the Avesta, a compendium of texts assembled over several centuries. Its oldest and most central component is the Gathas, purported to be the direct teachings of Zoroaster and his account of conversations with Ahura Mazda. These writings are part of a significant section of the Avesta called the Yasna, which forms the core of the Zoroastrian liturgy. Zoroaster's religious philosophy divided the early Iranian gods of Proto-Indo-Iranian paganism into emanations of the natural world, known as Ahuras and Devas. The former is to be revered and the latter rejected. Zoroaster proclaimed that Ahura Mazda was the supreme creator and sustaining force of the universe, working in Getaj, the visible material realm, and Menog, the invisible spiritual and mental realm, through 7 Amisha Spentas, which represent various aspects of the universe as well as the highest moral good. Emanating from Ahura Mazda is Spenta Mainyu, the holy or bountiful spirit, the source of life and goodness, which is opposed by Angra Mainyu, the destructive or opposing spirit, who is born from Aka Mana, evil thought. Angra Mainyu was further developed by Middle Persian literature into Ahriman, Mazda's direct adversary. Zoroastrianism holds that within this cosmic dichotomy, humans have the choice between Asha, truth, cosmic order, the principle of righteousness or rightness that is promoted and embodied by Ahura Mazda, and Druch, falsehood, deceit. The essential nature of Angra Mainyu that expresses itself as greed, wrath, and envy. The central moral precepts of the religion are good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, which are recited in many prayers and ceremonies. Many practices and beliefs of ancient Iranian religion can still be seen in Zoroastrianism, such as reverence for nature and its elements. Fire is held to be particularly sacred as a symbol of Ahura Mazda, serving as a focal point of many ceremonies and rituals. Zoroastrian places of worship are known as fire temples. Last on our list for today is Tenrikyo. Tenrikyo is a new Japanese religion that is neither strictly monotheistic nor pantheistic, originating from the teachings of a 19th century woman named Nakayama Miki, known to her followers as Oya-sama. Followers of Tenrikyo believe that the God of origin, God in truth, known by several names including Tsukihi, Tenri Ono Mikoto, and Oyagame-sama, God the Parent, revealed divine intent through Miki Nakayama as the Shrine of God, and to a lesser extent, the roles of the Honseki Izo Iburi and other leaders. Tenrikyo's worldly aim is to teach and promote the joyous life, cultivated through acts of charity and mindfulness called Hinokishin. Today, Tenrikyo's primary operations are located at Tenrikyo Church Headquarters, Tenri, Nara, Japan. This headquarters supports 16,833 locally managed churches in Japan, the construction and maintenance of the Oyasato Yakata, and various community-focused organizations. Tenrikyo has 1.75 million followers in Japan and is estimated to have over 2 million worldwide. The ultimate spiritual aim of Tenrikyo is the construction of the Kanrodai, a divinely ordained pillar in an axis mundi called the Jiba, and the correct performance of the Kagura ritual around the Kanrodai, which will bring about the salvation of all human beings. The idea of the Jiba as the origin of earthly creation is called Moto no Ri, or the principle of origin. A pilgrimage to the Jiba is interpreted as a return to one's origin, so the greeting Okari Nasai, welcome home, is seen in many inns in Tenri City. Other essential teachings include Tano, joyous acceptance, a constructive attitude towards troubles, illness, and difficulties. Juzen no Shugo, 10 principles involved in creation, exist in Futatsu Hitotsu, 2-in-1 relationships, and are considered to be applied continuously throughout the universe. The joyous life in Tenrikyo is defined as charity and abstaining from greed, selfishness, hatred, anger, covetousness, miserliness, grudge, and arrogance. Negative tendencies are not sins in Tenrikyo, but rather dust that can be swept away from the mind through Hinokishin and prayer. Hinokishin, voluntary effort, is performed not out of a desire to appear selfless, but out of gratitude for Hashimoto Kimono and Shugo, providence. The most fundamental teaching of Tenrikyo is Hashimoto Kimono, which means a thing lent, a thing borrowed. The human body is lent and borrowed. Tenrikyo followers think of their minds as things under control, but their bodies are not entirely controlled. We have looked into some of the minor religions around the world. There is still more to come about religion. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the final part of this series. Until next time, stay tuned and stay weird.
This is Playballs, Funhouse, where the show never ends. Tell your buddies it's gonna be a wild ride. like and subscribe and spread the word. Tell all your friends and get your tickets now to